Well, welcome back to another windy weekend on the Smallholding. So we've got a lot going on this week, and we'll just take you through a few things we've got to get done. So in between decorating inside the house, I know it's a bad time of year to be decorating, but it's the only time we can get the plaster in, so we've got to fit around that. So yesterday afternoon, came out, so we've been debating what to do with this area here. We've wondered whether to put a few more veg beds in or seating area or what. So we've decided we're going to do flower beds because Grace is growing bumper crops of flowers all over and she's got nowhere to put them. So I came out yesterday, membraned this, got it all down. So I'm going to make two beds. I just need a bit more wood. I haven't got enough wood here to make them. So I'm just going to do two big beds. One just rectangular bed here, and then another one over there, pretty much the shape that wood's in there. And you can see behind her all the flowers she's got going on. She's got more over there. So there's plenty there for her to fill them. So in between that, we've been eating out of the garden quite regularly now, but we've got a couple of bumper crops ready to get harvested. So we're going to go over there now and get on with them.
Well, the broad beans have took a right battering. I've showed you this before in the last video. This is in the different winds and the storms that we've had. For some reason, we seem to be getting windier and windier seasons, especially at this time of the year. It is at the moment, so hopefully you can hear me fine. I'm going to work in the broad bean bed and get all of the ones harvested at a good size to harvest. We will put them in the freezer for the ones that we're not going to be using immediately, but I've been using them for most of my meals, really enjoying them. The kids not so much, but Stephen's going to be getting the meals this week as well, so he's looking forward to that. Thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
And this bed here, just with one thing and another, we haven't been staying on top of the radishes, and as you can see, they're starting to go to seed. So I'm literally going to come through, and these ones here that have been sowed really close together, we'll be taking these out and feeding them straight to the pigs. So we'll take you down and have a look at the pigs as well, see how they're getting on. Stephen's going to work over yonder.
Right, so while Tracy's working over there, I came out yesterday and had a walk around and I noticed a load of strawberries ready. And after we've had a big downpour of rain last night, so I want to get them all out before the slugs and the snails get onto them. So I brought 2 tubs out, feeling optimistic. Feeling optimistic. So we'll see what we get filled.
Lots of red.
Loads, isn't there, when you
Once you start looking, I can see that a few of them have been snaffled, mind.
From this end and work my way up. Appears to be optimistic in this game. Already on my second bowl. There's a bowl over there, so this bowl's off the front half. This is off the second half. But I've still got this middle bit to do, so fill that up nicely.
I've just been to get the thick gloves, one of the leather gloves, because I'm going to take these thistles out while I'm harvesting the broad beans. You can see some of them are literally growing flat on the ground, but I've already got a full tub here, and there's another one, you probably can't see it in the distance, just there, that's completely full as well. I kid you not, there's hundreds of them, which is fantastic. As I say, they'll get frozen. I'm just contemplating what's going to go in this bed next and when to take these guys out, because the ones that are flat, some of them are snapped, so that'll be it for them. But there should be quite a few left still, so I'm hoping still for like another harvest. This shouldn't be it.
Well, look at them bad boys. So there's still a load left in there that aren't still quite ripe yet, so we'll come out next weekend and we'll get probably another couple of bowls out of that. Right, give Tracy a hand with the beans and we'll get the radish out and go and feed the pigs.
So one thing I've noticed when I've been harvesting the broad beans is that we're not the only ones that are eating them. When you sow broad beans, whether it's in the autumn or the spring, everybody always says be careful because the mice love them too, which is very true. I generally sow ours in pots and then transplant them for this reason here. If you come in and have a look, can you see the beans have literally been nibbled out of every single one of these, out of every one. So that whole plant there has had a mouse take a bean out of every single pod.
It's a brave mouse.
It is, but I swear it doesn't ever want to meet me.
Right, so pretty impressive harvest to start with. Tracy's got a couple of big tubs of beans. I started helping, I thought she only had one, but we're going to have to shell all these, so we're going to go and sit in the shade and do them. Got a couple of tubs of strawberries, they're going to go in the fridge ready to make jam. I think you're going to do jam with it first, aren't you?
Yeah, you just opened the last one today, didn't you, from last year?
They'll be a welcome addition to the shelves. And we've picked a barrel full of radishes and tops for the pigs. So on our way for the shade, we're going to go give them to the pigs. Right, pigs. Oh, pigs. Well, these look bigger every day you come down. So I think we're going to give them another fortnight in here, and then we're going to open this bit up here for them and give them a whole new piece of ground. We'll just get these in for them. Right, pigs, here you go. Oh, what's all this? Here. Here. There you go. Right, well, if you missed it, these are saddleback crosses. We got them about the end of March, so now they're 15 weeks old and they're doing absolutely fantastic. They seem to be putting weight on every day.
Mad.
I didn't mean lay down, lad.
They always roll over for a cuddle.
But now coming into this time of year, they'll just be getting more and more. They'll just be getting more and more food, fresh straight from the garden. I think they're loving this sun. They've got plenty of shade up against the back there with them trees, so that they can get out of it if they want, but they just seem to love it. Have you fell asleep? Have you fell asleep? You're silly.
That one's laid like Buster with his legs at the back.
You're silly as well. You're a dingbat. Yeah? Oh, just like a big dog, aren't you? Yeah, you're just like a big dog. But yeah, couldn't ask for a better pair of pigs.
They're funny, aren't they? Oh, is that
We
it?
can get up and eat our food now.
Right, we're going to get the hose pipe and get the waters done. You forget every year how long it takes to pod all the different kinds of beans. So first lot of podding this year, broad beans, and we just sat in the shade, chilled and enjoyed it. And all I did was spread them out onto a baking tray, as you can see, with some like baking parchment so that they didn't stick once they were in the freezer. Every sort of 20 minutes or so I went in and just ruffled them around so that they didn't stick together. And then when they were all frozen, simply put them into a freezer bag so you can then go in and just take out as much as you need at any one time. Well, what a fantastic first harvest. The first lot of frozen broad beans came in at 1.7 kilos and the second lot came in at approximately 2.1. So that was just from one picking. I just had to freeze them over 2 settings. Well, it's another busy night in the vegetable garden as well as other things. Tonight I'm doing strawberry jam with those strawberries that Stephen harvested. Actually, not last night, but the night before. Don't want to leave them go any longer than that, and ideally I would have done them yesterday. But we were out yesterday visiting family on the evening. Anyway, none of that's relevant because what I'm talking about now is these 2 beds I've been getting on and weeding. The bed here, chickens fighting. Getting on and weeding this bed here, you can see I've got a couple of turnips. I've sowed them thickly because the idea is that they're pig food as well, so literally whipping those out. I've got piles on the floor that I'll be taking down to the pigs. All of the radish are out of that bed now, so I'll be moving over to another bed and getting the next load sown. This bed here, the calendula, some of it is ready for harvesting. Grace won't want me to harvest it because she just loves looking at it. I mean, who wouldn't? They're gorgeous, aren't they? But we'll be using some of those for skin salve. Now, here, some of the carrots, for whatever reason, didn't germinate, so I'm going to get some more carrots in the empty areas, and I've decided I'm going to put some of the Outdoor Girl, that's the name of the variety of the tomatoes, in the end of this bed, and also the tomatoes that were in here. There's a couple of weeds that I've just pulled out, that's what's there. The tomatoes that were in here are looking really good. I thought that they weren't going to come good. Still super windy, but they have, so I'm thrilled to bits with that. Everything needs watering, but it's a lovely night to be out. Last night I was pretty pleased that we had to go out, to be honest, to visit family because it was so hot. It was too hot for me to work in, but that does mean there's like double the amount of work to get through tonight. So we'll see how we get on. I can't not do those strawberries because I obviously don't want those going to waste. So we'll see what we manage to get done tonight. So in addition to what I'm doing, this is what this area looks like at the moment as well. Grace has got many of her flowers. She is a dahlia fanatic at the moment, but she's got many of her flowers that are ready to go into the beds just around and about here. Stephen managed to get this bed made last night. There's another one that he's in progress with doing, but unfortunately hasn't got everything he needs to get it finished. So he is busy painting in the house. Poor bloke is sick to death of doing that. Anyway, Grace has been filling this bed with muck. She actually asked Jack to help. He came out and did a load of the lifting for her. So, well, she filled the barrows, he walked them up here because it's right down where the side of the paddock, which is quite a walk. So he walked them all the way up here for her. and she's been working on that. She's gone inside to get the dogs fed and everything now, but this is going to be gorgeous, absolutely fantastic when it's done. So there's the before. I'm not sure how long it'll be until there's an after, but we'll keep you posted on the progress. Just before I go and feed the pigs, actually, that's their barrow full of turnips and turnip greens and radishes. This bed here has got the carrots. You can see the lines now that I've pulled the radishes out. Clearly this one has suffered more than this one, because I'm guessing this one being near the edge and didn't have anything on this side of it's done a lot better. Just notice how I missed these weeds. But anyway, let's get that behind there. This is apple mint. But look at this again, absolutely gigantic. So what I'm going to do, because whatever's coming out of there has been eating these beetroot in here, which I'm really not happy about, because we don't have that many and there's plenty of other things that can be eaten. So the camera that I mentioned that I'm going to get, I'm actually going to put here. I'm literally going to stand it somewhere where it can see. Don't know why it's picked that bit, but that bit was all covered by radishes, as was everything else. So fingers crossed we can figure out what it is and then how to stop it happening. Right, let's go and feed the pigs in the field. But I've got this broad bean plant that I snapped off by accident. Can you see? If you look closely, that's the blooming teeth marks of whatever's had the seed out of there, or the bean out of there. So we will get you. Goodness me, can you see I am really warm, especially working at the Arga doing this jam. I did a video actually last year where I was doing it outside and I look all wrapped up as if it's freezing, and it was July I think that I did that video. What a difference. Anyway, this is what I've got left. I've got £3 of strawberries already in the Dutch oven that's on the Arga, just simmering away. I literally put them in whole. I'll pop the video wherever, I never know which side it is, if you're interested in how I do that. And we prefer a runnier consistency for the jam. However, this year I am going to try jam sugar. I haven't done that for a long time and I can't remember how that's going to set, so we'll see. I've got tons of strawberries to get through, so much that I'm not going to be able to get them all done tonight. I didn't realise quite how many there was. I thought all of one of the balls that Stephen harvested would go in the Dutch oven, but it's not. It's only about half. I'll let you know at the end how many pounds of strawberries we actually harvested. What you can do if you're making jam is freeze them. So I'm just going to wash them. In fact, I won't wash them. I'll just make sure they're clean, because when you wash them and put them in the freezer, obviously the water crystals on the strawberries will freeze as well. But they will go into jam perfectly fine from frozen. So that's what we're going to be using all of this first batch for, so that we can get them on the winter shelves. So that we can get them on the pantry shelves for the winter. Can you tell it's getting on? It's 8:30. It's nearly my bedtime. Anyway, I'm going to get on with this. The strawberries are smelling amazing. And the trusty Dutch oven, they're literally simmering down. I'm going to leave that that lid on for now, just to help them stew down, and then I will take it off once I put the sugar in. Can you see how many years this has been loved for? It's given us some fantastic meals, this Dutch oven. Although I remember actually when Stephen bought it for me, I literally accidentally dropped it the day after. He got it for me as a gift. Cost a fortune, especially for us back then, and I dropped it on the floor the day after and it got like its first ever chip, one of these over here. Many instances of that since then though. So what I've gone for in the end is a kilo of jam sugar, because it comes in kilo bags, and the remainder in just regular granulated sugar. Now, one bit of advice I gave on the video that I did was don't leave it unattended, because it'll spill over. Well, guess what Tracy did? Can you see? Might not come up on camera. Went out to get something from outside, got chatting with Stephen, got distracted and came back and it was all spilling over. So I'm not sure how much I've lost to that, but anyway, we shall see when I jar them up. I've got the jars sterilising in the Instant Pot at the minute. And then what I've done is put the remainder of the strawberries in bags. There's actually £3 in here, because the recipe that I do, I always work in pounds when I'm doing jam and jellies, because it's literally a pound of fruit to a pound of sugar. That's what we work to. Anyway, there's £3 of strawberries in here, which fits in the Dutch oven perfectly, but there was £4 left, so I've actually got £4 in this bag. This bag might be living on the edge when I do this. But anyway, both of these are going to go in the freezer and they will go directly into the Dutch oven for when I start the next round of strawberry jam. So 10 pounds of strawberries from that first picking is an absolutely brilliant result, and each time I make it, it makes about 5 jars or just over 5 jars and uses £3, so chuffed to bits with that.
Well, it's another scorcher. I've been stuck inside all day at work, then come home and on with the decorating, so I've come out for the last couple of hours of the evening sun. Just thought I'd show you how we're getting on with this area. Tracy's been weeding the car park, I don't know if you can see behind me, so making progress on there. So I've got one of the flower beds made. Grace has got it all filled up with the cut flowers. That's all looking spot on. I've got another one to make here, but I've run out of the waterproof membrane that goes on the inside. So I've ordered some of that, should be here tomorrow, and I'll pick the wood up from work tomorrow as well. So I'll get that finished, and hopefully she'll clear all this mess in front of us, and then hopefully by the end of next week, when I can get the gravel, all this will be matching with the rest of the place and looking neat and tidy. But that's where we're up to so far with it. Looking pretty good.
And we didn't want to close the video out without following up on our promise to tell you more about this little lady here. It's not the best of angles or shots, and it's very windy behind me, so do forgive me. But while she was sat on my knee, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to tell you where she's from and what it's been about. You may have seen her in a few of our recent videos. She came with Stephen and I to Pooley Bridge, and you've seen her looking at the lambs and just kind of dotting about with us. And that's because she is our newest member of the family, aren't you, darling? She's called Maggie. Now, for those of you that have been with us a little while, you may remember a dog that Grace took in from the vet. So if you don't know, Grace, our daughter, is a veterinary nurse. She's learning to be a veterinary nurse, going through the whole course, and she works in the vets as well as being at college. And she has brought home lots of different animals to foster and to look after for the night, this, that and the other. Ethel was a dog that came to us for end-of-life care, and we talked about her on one of our videos, and she was only with us for 2 weeks before unfortunately we lost her. So we knew that was going to be the case, and we were quite committed to making sure she had the best 2 weeks that she possibly could. And she has got, in Grace's memorial garden, she's got a flower, she's got a cross and everything. Well, she's got flowers, lots of them, you know. Grace is like, if you've seen her memorial garden. Anyway, so Ethel has firmly got a place there, and when Grace created the memorial garden, she put some flagstones down that Stephen helped her with, and where Ethel's little place is on top of one of those flagstones, and there was nothing else on the flagstone. Fast forward a few weeks after that had happened, and Grace came running in and said, "You're not going to believe what's happened. On the flagstone there's a paw print, and that was not there before. It's actually in the concrete or the cement, whatever it is, on the flagstone, and it wasn't there before. It's not like a fresh concrete that something's walked on or anything like that. So it's kind of was a little bit meaningful, shall we say, that a paw print had turned up on the flagstone where Ethel was. She was not buried there, but where her memorial is. And then a couple of weeks later, this little lady, and she looks a bit bedraggled in this heat, this little lady turned up at the vets. Her story is that unfortunately somebody dumped her on a dual carriageway, and well, left her to fend for herself basically. She was in a really bad state. She's still really thin now, but she's put on quite a bit of weight since we took her on, but there's a whole process that we need to go through before we could do that, just to make sure that nobody was going to come and claim her or anything. She's not microchipped or anything like that, so there was no idea of where she came from. She had fallen asleep last. So we didn't have a clue who the owners were, and to be honest, if somebody did dump her, then would we even want to reunite her with the owners? But who am I to decide and play God in that instance? Anyway, nobody came forward. Nobody was looking for her. We searched locally on all the Facebook groups and everything. We put a shout out to see if anybody was missing her. You know, at the end of the day, she could have jumped out of somebody's garden, and she could have just gone missing, and they've been frantically searching for her. And there is nothing more than we would have liked to reunite her with her owners if there was somebody missing her, you know, and losing sleep over not having her in the anyway, again, fast forward to today, and it's been, what's it been now, maybe 5 or 6 weeks? I can't remember off the top of my head, and Grace isn't here to ask. And so nobody's come forward. So basically Grace has adopted her, and she is now firmly part of our doggy family. So that's her little story. She will not be going anywhere. She's here for the long run. So Welcome to Maggie. And say hi, Maggie. Maybe when... And say hi, Maggie. Bit camera shy. Maybe when it cools off a bit. She's absolutely adorable. It's as if Ethel has sent Maggie to spend her days with us, and she's arranged for that to happen, if you believe in that kind of thing. But if you did, Ethel, thank you. She's gorgeous. So thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next video.